creating a business plan, especially at that age, I was blown away at what that meant. A business plan is not a 2-page document. So, but it gave me the insight of the steps that I needed to take. And some of that was finishing college, going to get my master's, going to, work as a provider for a couple of years or 6 years, whatever, to get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. You're learning 2 things at once.
That's right.
Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. Hello and welcome to the Real Hernando, presented to you by Wesley Meadows Retirement Community and produced by SRP Studios Podcasting. This podcast spotlights organizations, ministries, and community leaders in Hernando and greater DeSoto County by sharing their stories and what led them to serve the community. Please follow us at therealhernando.com for all channels and social media platforms. I'm your host, Derek, and today we're spotlighting Southern Pediatric Therapy. They are a private practice that provides physical, speech, occupational, and music therapy to the community and surrounding schools in DeSoto County. For more information, please visit southernpediatrictherapy.com. Today, helping us with this is owner and occupational therapist Jennifer, and I should have asked this before we started. How do you say your last name?
Pacileo.
Pacileo. Yeah. Jennifer Pacileo. Thanks for being here today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited to learn more about this. Really, also the music therapy. I'm a longtime musician, so I'm really interested in how that works.
Yeah.
But thanks for being here, and let's get started here, right? So
sounds good.
On the front end, just give us a quick description of what Southern Pediatric Therapy is and does.
Yeah, so we're an outpatient pediatric therapy clinic. So we work with children that have special needs or just developmental delays. We offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and music therapy. We work on getting the children to age-appropriate skills, working on some of the things to get them more independent in their daily life. And that's what we do.
What are some of the common reasons they need this help?
It kind of depends on the discipline that they're or the therapy that they're needing. But, if your child's not walking when they should, talking when they should, able to grasp a writing utensil or use scissors, utilize appropriate grasps, anything like that is really where we get a referral either from the pediatrician or we have parents call us all the time that says, hey, I think that, my child needs to be saying a few more words than they're saying. Yeah. Is there a way for us to come in and get an evaluation?
So the talking, obviously, that's speech therapy. The physical attribute, not trouble walking, handling scissors, like you said, that's obviously physical. But what would occupational be? Is that similar?
So occupational therapy is more of your fine motor skills. So some of those scissor skills, being able to write their name, cognition, sensory processing, attention, behavior, a lot of that is occupational therapy.
So just that way they can operate in a normal atmosphere.
Yeah, and self-care skills as well. So being able to, utilize a button, use a button zipper, get dressed independently, those type of things.
Do you find autistic to be a part of this? Do you treat autism?
Yes, we do. We treat all diagnoses. Autism is a big population that we see.
So I would say music, would that be for the children that have high anxiety?
Absolutely.
It soothes them down.
It does. And it's really neat to see because music therapy is, utilizing interventions that, with kiddos that are more responsive to music or beats or tones. She works on a lot of the skills that we all work on, but she utilizes music to do that, which is really neat to see. Because sometimes, if you're working with language, with a child and they may not be able to respond as quickly as you're wanting them to, sometimes you see such a significant difference when you put a song with it, things like that. So
it's educational too. Like it help you focus. I can listen to Slipknot, some hardcore stuff.
Right.
if I'm traveling, not driving, got my earbuds in, and I can actually fall asleep listening to that, which is weird, you would think. But even that crazy music and noise does something to me. Sure. You know, and I'm a longtime musician, definitely intrigued by that.
Well, and it's kind of like, you know, even as an adult, when you're trying to figure out what letter's next, how often do you sing the ABCs in your mind? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's very similar. Music therapy utilizes both sides of the brain at the same time.
If you ask me, give me the alphabet from F to S. Right. I'm singing in my head, starting with A. Right. I can't just jump in and get it.
That's right. You know? That's right. So that's kind of just a little example.
I mean, look at Sesame Street.
That's right.
It's all music based.
That's right.
For a reason like that. But for someone that has that high anxiety, you know, do you let the kids play something?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if she's working on fine motor with a child, she may have them try to pick strings on the guitar. If she's working on, you know, language or being able to finish the end of a sentence or a song, she may have them complete that in a song or, you know, utilizing drums. Absolutely. Piano is another big one that she uses. Yeah. It's pretty neat to see.
You can just tap the string. So there's overlap here. So the music, like we mentioned, does help with the anxiety and depression and everything, but now you're breaking in the physical.
That's right.
So you know, so they getting coordinated.
Yeah.
If they're trying to play the piano, especially drums, I mean, that will coordinate your four limbs. Yeah. In a really cool way.
Right. And there is a lot of overlapping between all of us.
Yeah.
Of course, we all have our own scope of practice, but, you know, our ultimate goal is to work together to, you know, have that child be the most successful that they can be.
I see it's birth through age 21.
That's right.
Interesting. You know, usually these types of things are once you're 18, have fun.
That's right.
You know, but what made you go up to 21?
So school system, you know, if the child's able to stay till 21, and you know, sometimes the age of 21, if you do have a disability, they may still be living with their families. They may not be in another type of home environment or things like that. So, typically that's just where our pediatric scope lies is to that age of 21.
That's good. And if they are functioning higher and in college, that's still good because, you know, they're still in school.
Right.
You know, they still need insurance and help and all that. Right. So what kind of, you guys work well with insurance companies?
Yeah, we're in network with all major insurance companies. Even if we don't, you know, if somebody has a very small insurance, you know, we definitely check to see if we're able to, because a lot of those smaller insurances will allow you to go through them because they know they're small. You know, you're not having to be in network.
Do you have scaling rates?
Yeah, so insurance companies tells us what to charge. It's called an allowable. So each insurance is different. We kind of have an idea based on like, hey, you know, if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, this is what's typically, you know, your insurance is having us charge and stuff like that. But we also have a private pay rate or a self-pay rate.
Gotcha.
And that's straight across the board.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations on DeSoto's Best.
Thank you.
Was that this year? I saw it on your website.
Yes.
So it was for 2023.
And that's 3 years in a row. So
good for you.
The team is amazing.
I made third place.
Oh, well, that's still good though.
But what was cool about it is
I love that.
I don't know how it works. Someone just showed me like, hey, I'm like, someone nominated for me? Like, how does that work? Yep. So that was neat to see. You know? And I think it's something that is worth bragging about.
Yeah, absolutely. Even being recognized or being nominated, honestly.
Yeah.
That's showing that, you know, you have touched somebody to where they take the time to nominate your company or your business or, you know, your team. It's pretty neat.
It's flattering.
It really
because
is.
I'm sure you're not the only business that does this, correct?
No. Yeah, there's definitely a lot.
Yeah. So for you to stick out, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a unicorn. So they didn't really have too many to vote for.
No,
I was in the advertising marketing category.
Yeah.
You know, so. Yeah. All right. Well, team. I went on your website and I was like, okay, I clicked the team tab. Massive team.
We do have a big team.
And you mentioned in the notes that you sent me that you definitely want to spotlight them. So
yes.
Who do you want to start with?
Well, really everybody. We have a team of 30.
Wow.
And I know, so we definitely, you know, have a lot of people that they just they put so much of their heart into what they do. It's just remarkable to see. But we do have an administration team that includes the administration team, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, and then music.
You
so
definitely have the specialists that fit each category.
Yes.
I see there.
Yes.
So who's the music therapist?
Her name is Gracie.
Okay.
So she is our only musical therapist right now, and she's phenomenal. She's board certified, so she's really great.
What kind of studying, like how do you become a music therapist? I think we all, yes, you go to college for occupational speech. Sure. Go to college for all of this. But the music one aside, okay, those make sense.
Sure.
But you bring in the music therapy, I think for a lot of people, maybe I'm just naive, that's different and new.
Yes.
So what kind of schooling do they need? Because obviously they need to be a musician.
Sure.
Right? But then get licensed to be a therapist, correct?
Yes. So she, in the state of Mississippi, what they do is they will complete their bachelor's or master's, and then they will take a certification or a board certification where they do have to kind of, answer a lot of those scope questions, those scientific questions for licensure.
Okay. So is there less barrier to be a music therapist? Like, you don't need a full bachelor's degree?
Well, so music therapy in Mississippi right now, there's a lot of legislator trying to get passed to where we can bill insurance for music. Right now, we're not able to because insurance companies do not allow music therapy providers to be considered in-network.
Is it because they just don't see it? They don't believe in it as much?
I think so. I think it's more of like, advocating for what we do. And OT was like that as well, because OT is the same way of where, what does OT do? So myself and our profession has had to do a lot of advocating as well. But I think it comes with music therapy being a long time thing where people didn't have to necessarily be certified or licensed. They can just say that they're doing music therapy, and that has been trying to be changed. And I think that's kind of where it is just really trying to advocate and get it passed.
So where it stands is the business like yourself, it's just up to you to choose who you want. And then they do some entry-level training. Is that how that works?
Well, so
I don't know if you can tell I'm picking your brain on this because it sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, being a 30-year musician.
Yeah. So she actually went through the music therapy program, and they complete, throughout the curriculum, you're doing things just like OT. So you're really figuring out the scope of what you can do, how you can work on certain skills, all interventions, what you're doing, how you would treat certain diagnoses, how you would treat certain conditions.
Right.
And then she does field work. So field work is like internships, where she goes to a facility for a certain amount of time. Most of the time, there's like a music therapist at Le Bonheur. There's a lot of them will do mental health. So she also works at a mental health in a facility in Memphis. So a lot of it kind of used to be that mental health component, but they have really got into the pediatric realm. How
big is the program? Is it a annual or like a year-long program, or how does that work?
So I think her specific program, don't quote me, but I think it's 2 years. But at the end of that, you would have a bachelor's. And I think that they, kind of like the other disciplines, they take a certain amount of people. So the program may take 30 people each year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm picking on the music for various reasons, but let's be honest, if the insurance companies aren't playing with it, then it's a lot of people that probably don't even know that's a thing.
Right.
So I think this is good to
absolutely
educate people on, hey, there's this other form of therapy that are good for kids, and with it being music. And you mentioned how to handle and treat each scenario. So you might have a kid that can't handle the sound of drums.
Right.
But a little bit of keyboard maybe,
Right,
right? Is
right.
that, so that's part of it, to figure out what works for each kid.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because she says that she really incorporates the music that each child likes.
Yeah.
And she's like, one child will be Coco Melon, and the next one maybe, something that's like, more rock.
Yeah.
So it's really funny to see them, they all have preferences on what they want to listen to. And I think it's so funny.
My daughter always sang in the car.
Yep.
Loves music. I've lived through all the stages, from the Kitty stuff to the Bieber stuff to the
Sure.
and all the pop. But then she starts singing choir.
Yep.
And that became therapy for her.
Sure.
She, like myself, in my family bloodline, there's a lot of depression and anxiety. Absolute therapy for her. She needs it.
Yeah.
She loves it and needs it. And then now she's into theater. So now I'm listening to nothing but musicals, which is fun. It's good music. But I know firsthand what music has done for my daughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where they work in a lot of mental health, because they work a lot on those coping skills, a lot of working through that anxiety, and stuff like that. So it's really neat to see. So
let's not leave out the other ones, but what are some other team members that you want to spotlight that head some of these other categories?
Yeah, so we have managers on each team. So Kristen Harmon, she is the occupational therapy and physical therapy manager. So she manages that team. All have, just a great group of girls and stuff. So, and then I have Emily Williams. She is the manager of the speech therapy team and music therapy team. And she also has a large team, and she's a bunch of good girls. But and then we have educational coordinators. So we have Shelby Edmonds and we have Deallegra Cochran. Deallegra Cochran is the OT educational coordinator, and Shelby is the speech therapy. Now, what that means is we work with a lot of universities that bring in, students or people who are wanting to observe or do field work with us to become an SLP, and they manage them.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then, you couldn't name off all your employees. I'm sure maybe you could.
I could.
But we don't have, all the time in the world.
Sure.
You're better with names than I am.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, great. So, is there, before we break into the origin story,
Okay.
because I always find these stories fascinating, because I'm an entrepreneur as myself, and people engage with story very well. Before that, though, are we missing anything that you would like to educate the audience on before we jump into that?
I think the only thing would be, don't wait. If you have concerns that, your child may be delayed in a certain area, or you're just wanting to get checked to make sure and have your child be, assessed to make sure, don't wait. Just give us a call. It's just even if they don't qualify for therapy services, at least as a parent, at least you kind of are able to be like, all right, we're where we need to be. So.
It gives them an idea of what they can do next.
Yes,
where
absolutely.
they can turn next. Well, good. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. And these kids need they need help. We don't want to just leave them to the side and deal with it.
Yeah.
Like so many generations have. Yeah. With today's technology and everything,
I know.
it's like
I know.
we need to step up and help these kids.
Well, and a lot of the times parents don't know where to go.
Right.
So they're like, hey, this is what may be going on, but I don't know what type of professional works with them. Give us a call, and we are able, even if it's not us, we're able to direct you in the right direction of where to go to kind of find those answers.
I'll mention this again, but your phone number is 662-469-2906. And you can email them at info@spt-team.com.
That's right.
So we'll mention that again before we wrap up. All right. So I love origin stories. I love hearing people's stories that take a chance, something they follow their heart on whatever industry and talents they have. What I know now already is your husband is co-owner with you. So how does this start for you?
So it started, it actually started I was a freshman in college, and I worked at an outpatient pediatric clinic, just like the one I own now.
What college you go to?
Arkansas State was undergrad. And so I was there, and I was working as a tech. So I was, cleaning restrooms, filing papers, answering phones, and fell in love with it. Fell in love with the difference that the providers made, the company made. I just knew that's what I wanted to do starting out. It was a long process to kind of get to here. But I was a junior in college and wrote my first business plan. That was 18 years ago. So it was a long time ago. But
and so, sorry if I missed this. What
Sure.
you're studying in school is physical therapy?
So I was studying at the time exercise science. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you do like an undergrad, then you have to go for like OT and PT. You have to go to like get your master's or doctorate. Now there's also assistants and stuff. But at that time I was exercise science, at Arkansas State. But I knew that's what I wanted to do, so wrote the business plan as a junior. And
So business plan.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Obviously you're not going to school for business.
Right.
So guess what? You got to figure it out.
That's right.
I certainly didn't.
Yes.
I didn't start my journey until I was in my 40s.
Right.
So you learn as you go.
Yep.
So to start with a business plan, of course, now you learn. That's where you start.
Sure.
But how did you start kind of educating yourself on how to start a business?
So my family doesn't come from entrepreneurs. We don't, my parents didn't even go to college. So I had to do a lot of networking, mentorship. So the OT that I worked with at the time, or the one that owned the clinic, she helped me a lot with where to go. A lot of it was my own research too. Spending a lot of hours trying to figure out what the process would be. And creating a business plan, especially at that age, I was blown away at what that meant. A business plan is not a 2-page document. So, but it gave me the insight of the steps that I needed to take. And some of that was finishing college, going to get my master's, going to, work as a provider for a couple of years or 6 years, whatever, to get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. You're learning two things at once.
That's right.
You have to be able to be good at what you do.
That's right.
So then when you figure out how to sell it.
Yep.
So you must have been very busy, I would say.
Yes. So it was hard.
5M Services, we're your comfort specialist. We're dedicated to serving residential and commercial clients with money-saving solutions, combining the highest quality parts with our unwavering commitment to delivering exceptional service to give you the top-notch experience you deserve. A 10-year parts and labor warranty is included with every install. Dial 662-560-7331. 5M Services, making your comfort our priority. Visit us on the web at 5mservices.net for more information.
So my junior year, I actually, fell into financial aspects that I couldn't finish my bachelor's, and I had to move back home, which was to Memphis, and I had to get my associate, so I became an occupational therapy assistant.
Okay.
So because I was able to finish that in 2 years instead of the 3 to 4 getting my master's to become an OT. So
now you're in the industry working.
Yes. So now
Right.
I'm an OTA, or an occupational therapy assistant, and I'm working. And then there's what we call a bridge program. So you're coming from occupational therapy assistant, bridging to an occupational therapist, what I am now. And it's at Belmont University. And it's like a weekend program where you do everything online, and then on the weekends you go and you take tests and those type of things.
That's Nashville, isn't it?
It's Nashville,
So
yeah.
you moved to Nashville?
I didn't move to Nashville. I actually made the travel. So I lived in Arlington at the time, and because I was working, I wasn't able to sustain my livelihood without working. So I did have to work. But the weekends that I had school, I went to travel to Nashville and then came back. So
I lived there for several years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's a fun place. It's a
I
little
loved
different
it.
now.
Yes, it is. It is. I loved it though.
But that shows determination.
It was hard, yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard, but
So your husband is co-owner with you. So when do you meet your husband? When does that happen?
Let's see. It was when I moved back to Memphis, and he recently just came on board full time last May. So it hadn't been too long with him on board full time, but he has been through the whole process, which was neat for him to see.
Yeah. So you're already married when you've decided, okay, now I'm starting my thing here.
Yep. And he knew that was the plan all along, and that's kind of where, you know, and then when I went to school in Nashville, I also had our first son. So
okay. So now building a family too.
I know.
And that's why I love these stories because it really just shows like when some people just are determined to do their own thing. Yeah. Being in their way. That's what I love about being an entrepreneur is maybe I want to try to do this my way instead of listening to a boss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what year and what does that day or year look like where you're like, okay, it's time to take that next step and really go out on my own? What year was that?
2018 is when I opened the practice.
That's funny.
I know. That's you too.
No one heard our conversation before the cameras turned on, but 2018 is a good year for me as well.
That's right.
So why that year?
I was, let's see, I've been a provider for 11 years, 16. So it was when I was confident with my knowledge of being alone, you know, because you're not working beside people doing the same thing to kind of bounce ideas off of. You always have those people you can call, but I was confident in my knowledge, confident in the direction that I needed to go, but also, you know, I don't think there's ever like a moment where it's like, this is the moment because you don't have any money at that time. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that like, you just kind of have to go.
At some point, you just jump.
That's right.
I call it cannonballing.
That's right.
You just got to go.
Go
Make that big splash.
That's right.
And then you got to swim.
That's right.
You got to tread that water, right?
Yep.
So did you jump right into getting a brick and mortar facility, or how did you just slowly grow to that point?
It was just me. So 2018, I was the only person. I traveled to schools in DeSoto County, went to, Magnolia, did a lot of the preschools in Hernando. And then in 2019, I got my first brick and mortar right off the square.
Just in time for COVID.
That's right.
So we're gonna touch that because I'm interested in that too. But 2019, that's when I started my LLC.
Yep.
Come on.
I know.
Let's go.
I know.
So you got your own place. Where was that place?
It's actually right by the square. It's that little green, we always called it the greenhouse. It's owned by Laney Funderburk, but it's right behind Henry Chiropractic.
Okay, as you're pointing towards where I'm sitting, the library, so it's over there by like the burger shop. It's down that same road. Gotcha. Okay.
So it looks like a little shotgun house, so we always called it.
So as you're heading 51 south,
yes,
and you pass the squares on your right, heading south, boom, right there. Yeah. The burger shop, and there's a place called something Tots.
Yes.
What's that place called?
Yes, yeah.
Kids for Tots. I don't know what it is, but
it was a little 1,800 square feet, probably less than that, 1,800 square feet.
You still there?
Building. No, we are over in off of Byhalia. So we went from 1,800 to 3,600.
Nice.
But we're at the old Mississippi Water building. Yeah, so off of kind of over there by Longview Point.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I kind of skipped ahead there, but what was it like? What was it like? You get the keys, you sign that lease.
That's right.
I can pull this from the story because I've lived it myself. And off and running, and,
I know.
And then what's that first thing you do? Because you obviously need a lot of equipment.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. So it was scary because I came, I didn't have a lot of money to be able to put into the business. So it was scary. I just kind of had to, I remember walking in and I literally sat down because it was my dream forever. And I'm not a huge crier, but I just started crying and praying of like, wow, this is crazy.
It's happening.
God is good.
Yeah, it's happening.
So, and then,
but I agree.
Yeah.
God is good. He's all over this studio. But at the end of the day, you still have to make that decision.
That's true.
You're the one taking the chance.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
And I think that he puts you through, a lot of the journey to be able to be a witness and be a witness of hard work, of determination, never stopping. Because there was moments that I was like, I can't do this anymore. We moved in February. In March, COVID hit. And
oh my goodness! Oh
yes, it was
so you
1 month.
So you said 2019, but you don't sign that lease until February. Oh man.
Yes.
You didn't see, no one saw this coming.
Nobody saw it coming. And our field, we can do virtual therapy. However, it's just not as, the kiddos are, because you're having to explain to, the families of how to perform interventions.
The best way is in person.
That's right. The best way. And so, and a lot of the kiddos that we work with have, a weak immune system. So they didn't want to come in.
Yeah.
It was scary to them. So I literally remember thinking, I've come this far, and if God wants this to continue, it's either sink or swim. I'm just going to continue to try and as much as I can.
So you were allowed to stay open?
I could stay open.
What was the term
we just did virtual therapy.
Okay, but no in person. You weren't allowed to have your doors open, though.
Well, I'm a medical facility, so I could. Nobody just wanted to.
Right. What was the term they were using? When you were allowed to stay open, you were, they said...
I know what you're talking about.
You were
a, not a necessity. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I remember. I should remember this because they said it so many times, but
sure.
They labeled you essential.
Yes.
Essential.
Essential business.
Yeah. But like you said, everyone was scared.
That's right. Nobody wanted to come out. So we did virtual therapy, and I didn't pay myself for 2 years. And I had to pay all my employees.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
I bet.
That was very hard.
How'd your husband feel about that?
This was when he worked at, he had another full-time job. He just recently came on board, like I said. But so we've always had it to where we can afford our lifestyle off of one income.
Yeah.
And so his income was able to sustain us. But, we were still,
tough.
It was tough.
Yeah,
we're still, living paycheck to paycheck because there was only, so.
I'm loaded. What are you talking about? I'm swimming in money.
So it was hard. And I think that's what people don't understand is I went 2 years without I was working full time, if not more, 60 hours, 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting a dime for my family. So that was, but it's about the company and the employees that are working for there. I want them to have that stability.
At the
and
time,
to be
how
able
big
to
was your
provide
staff
for the
at
family.
that time? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
I'm sure you weren't 30 employees at this point.
No,
right?
we weren't. So during COVID years, I had 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we weren't as big, but it was still, it was tough.
My business model is much smaller, and
Sure.
it's a different thing in podcasting. But I hit some financial woes, and look. I'll be honest. I had to pay some of my payroll on a credit card.
Sure.
Some of the occupational expenses. I had to build some debt. You bootstrap.
That's right.
You have no other choice. I have no plan B.
Yeah.
And you just keep fighting.
That's right.
With the hopes that it comes around. So now COVID opens up or eases up.
Sure.
When were you really starting to get that foot traffic back in?
Let's see. I think when everybody got to the point where we have to kind of return to that normal life and our kiddos need help. There's, we are needing help. And I think maybe about 8 months or so after the initial closure is when people started.
Okay. So, yeah. So that I would consider that early because, even in 2022, people were still freaked out.
Yeah, I know.
So you're starting to get foot traffic in at the end of 2020.
Yeah. And we were still only operating at probably about 40%.
Okay.
So only 40% of our clientele or capacity of seeing patients were able to, come in. So
is this now starting to ease up your finances or?
At that time?
Yeah, well, no, 2 years. So 2022 is when you finally, what was it like when you drew your first check? Did you celebrate?
Yeah,
You're like, check for $50. Yes, I paid myself.
That's right. It was good. I mean, I think that you get to the point where you are like, we have what we need anyways, and it's kind of it's bittersweet. But it was a good feeling because I felt a sense of relief of we're on the way up. We're on the way out of, only being able to see the kiddos through a computer. So that was a good moment. That was a good moment to be able to.
Sure it is. So when do you
First dollar.
Oh, that's great. Did you frame it?
I know.
So at what point are you 100% in person again?
I would say, let me think. What is 20? I would say probably 2021.
Oh, okay.
2022.
So yeah, you're 40% at 8 months. So, which is still great because 2021, you still had people lining up at the urgent care to get tested, and
That's
it was
right.
still scary. And but that's cool. I would gather everyone's wearing masks,
Yes,
right?
Yeah. We had to wear a mask pretty much all day, every day.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the protocol or the procedures. If somebody did get COVID, whether that's a staff member or a patient, the exposure time and all that. So we had to deal with through all of that. It was just being a business owner initially is hard anyways. But if you add a pandemic on top of that, I was like, my stress level is out the roof.
I was lucky. I don't want to, I don't know how to say it, but my business exploded in 2020.
Oh, good.
The podcast industry exploded. Everyone had time and money.
Sure.
They're pulling in that extra unemployment. And I was already working virtually. I didn't have a studio at the time. So it was great.
Yeah.
It was when people started having to go back to work and didn't have that much time anymore, and then unemployment was ending and everything. That's when I kind of got hit a little bit. But but I was very fortunate in that I already worked from home. I have full custody of my daughter. I didn't have to worry about how am I getting her to school or I'm going to work because I work for an essential business. And my, people, it was so hard for some families because who's watching the kid?
Right.
There's a lot of craziness there. So I was very fortunate in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine if I would have signed this lease and started building and I wasn't allowed to use it.
I know.
I'd be like, what's going on here?
It was very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
So where are you now? Like, how are things now?
Yeah.
Well, clearly you have a huge staff.
Yes.
So you're growing.
Yes. So we went from, a team, it was just me, just a team of one, just one person, all the way now to 30. So we have 30 team members.
Twice as big as your first.
That's right. So we're at, it's right at about 3,600, 3,700 square feet. So it's pretty much double.
When did that move happen?
Let's see. We've been there 3 years.
Okay.
This August.
Okay. So
it was right kind of, it was right when everything started coming back.
And then you started firing.
That's right.
Good for you.
I know. It was,
awesome.
it was.
You hung through the storm.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's a big storm.
Yeah, it was.
Sure.
It was.
Well, are we missing anything as far as your origin story? Because then I want to talk about how people can help and how you guys are involved in the community and the community can help you. So, but what advice would you give to someone that wants to pursue their own dream?
Don't stop, for sure. And it's not easy. But knowing it's not easy and knowing it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. And even when you do become an entrepreneur, it's still a lot of hard work.
Sure.
But knowing that anything that, that you want to do, you can do it. You just got to pull your boots up and go with it. Don't give up.
I've always given the thought of, throwing my hands up and giving up.
Right.
But I have no plan B.
Yeah.
Single income house.
Yeah.
No choice. But really what drives me is if I gave up on my dream, I would regret it for the rest of my life.
That's right.
That's guaranteed in my world.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless it just doesn't work and I'm forced out of it in ways I can't control or whatever, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
But if I just quit because I'm tired of being afraid and all that, I know I'd regret it. So, and I think how storms work, eventually it breaks, sun comes. So you just hang in there.
That's right.
For the ups and downs. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Yeah, it was neat.
That pandemic thing really just adds such a curveball.
Yeah, it was hard. I don't even know. I just remember kind of laughing because I'm like, man, this is my luck, But I think it was part of the journey because now it's when things happen, I'm like, hey, we can work through this.
You're strong. It made you stronger, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
You need to suffer a little bit.
That's right.
You can't. If it was always good go and and unicorns and rainbows and you wouldn't learn from it.
That's right.
It made me hustle.
That's
when
right.
I started having my issues. But good deal. Now, you guys in the notes you gave me, you wanted to talk about how you guys put yourself in the community, and then ways that people can help you. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you all do for the community in Hernando?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing right now that we are involved in is we created the Rising Stars sports program at the Gatorade Fieldhouse. So what this is, it's a sports camp that happens in June, and we bring a lot of volunteers and a lot of variety of sports to children that may need accommodations or have limitations. So that happens in June. So that's the biggest thing right now.
Do you know Greg Drumright, the owner?
Yes, Greg.
How often do you walk in and catch him playing pickleball?
A lot. He's all about the pickleball right now.
Oh, I know. I serve on the chamber board with him, so I'm not really getting to know him now.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have like a side meeting with other board members, a little committee meeting, he'll roll in his gym shorts.
Yeah, I know.
Puffing. He's like, man, like, did we interrupt your tournament? Like, what are we doing here?
I know. So him and then John that owns Hernando Sportsplex that's inside of Gatorade Fieldhouse. They we kind of all teamed up and we're like, let's offer this to the community because that's something that we want to expand and have all the student athletes or children athletes to come and join. So
that's good. So every June.
So this is our first one. So this is something brand new.
You heard it here first, folks. Right on.
So this is something brand new. We're hoping to build upon it.
How do people enter it, get involved?
So if you go to our Facebook page, our social media, or Gatorade Fieldhouse social media, or Hernando Sportsplex social media, they have all the posts of where you click the link to register.
Gotcha.
And even if a child needs a buddy, of what we call where they need somebody that's one-on-one with them all the time to help, the help is there. Yeah. So really just kind of encouraging kiddos to come out and find what they love.
When you said bring a buddy, it made me think of bring an animal. So not to derail here, but you must have kids that have, what are they called?
Therapy dogs?
Therapy dogs.
Yes.
So
we do have
you're
a
open
few.
to that?
Yeah, and I think that's something that comes with it as long as that they are that service dog or that therapy dog. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the buddy part is us as volunteers. We assigned you. It's kind of like the buddy at what was the prom? I'm trying to think what it was. A Night to Shine. Okay. Where they have a buddy where they need somebody to help supervise or assist them all day. That's kind of what the buddy was.
Oh, so the kid isn't bringing a buddy.
Right. Well, they can.
Sure.
Bring all the buddies.
Bring all the kids.
But yeah, I mean.
What are some of the events they're going to experience?
So we have cornhole, we have pickleball, we have basketball, we have kickball or dodgeball and boxing.
Whoa.
Yes.
Boxing.
So we're going
to... Do you have to sign a disclaimer for the boxing?
That's right.
If you get a black eye.
That's right. So we rotate throughout the sports and just allow, the kiddos to kind of experience it. Because a lot of the children that we work with, they may often not have the experience to do it because the assistance that they may need or the limitations that they have. And there's just not a lot of programs out there that will allow them, some of those needs and equipment that they may need. So we want to make sure that we provide that to them and allow them to experience it.
Remind me of the date again.
June, let's see.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yes, I can't.
But I'm asking because I think I'm pretty sure this.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
This episode come out before the event.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So side note off, a little production meeting here. Please send me that information.
Yeah, I sure will.
So when we start pushing out your episode and content, we'll make sure that link is available.
Yeah, we sure will.
Let me know for sure.
Another thing that we're doing is we do a bike camp in June, which we teach children how to ride their bike.
Nice.
Yes. And then in July, we have a music camp. So.
Hey, music camp.
You want to come?
Yeah. What is that like?
So we're going to try to do it in groups of like.
Is this another first time?
Yes. So it's
is this the first summer that you're really starting to kind of get out there like this?
Yep.
Very cool. So go back to the music there.
So we're hoping to incorporate a lot of like social groups and stuff to kind of work on some of those social skills and stuff. But ideally, it's just kind of like a therapy session that you would have with Gracie. She would kind of take a look at, what is that child needing in the moment. It's not the same process, of course, but just kind of working on some of those skills, playing different instruments, kind of working on the social interaction between the other people that are in there.
Will you have a performance? Any bands playing or?
No, so it's just going to be Gracie and probably.
So we can't put on a big rock festival for you?
You could. We would love that.
Because some kids are probably like
yes.
worse off.
That's right. That's right.
All the bands I know are loud.
Yes.
So,
it's really just Gracie and then the children that would be in that music camp. That would be kind of interacting and playing different instruments, maybe to a beat, maybe to a song, those type of things. So,
but real talk here. Maybe you could incorporate down the road.
Yeah.
Just a solo acoustic artist singing. Just
really
singing
neat.
the kids the song. That's not me. I'm a bass player.
I was going to ask you, did you want to volunteer to be that?
God blessed me with some great ears and stubbornness and the ability to play the bass.
Okay.
Vocals. Not so much. He put it. He can't bless everything.
Sure, that's right. That's right.
So you don't want me singing, which is unfortunate because I'd love to be able to do those types of things. But that's great. I love that music is being looked at as therapy.
Yes,
it really
absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
Sure. And it's been that way forever. Back in the day when someone would put their album in the record player and sit back with those big headphones and just kind of escape.
I know.
That's therapy.
I know.
For sure. So any other events that you got going on this year?
Let's see. I don't think so. We are having a celebration for our team of winning DeSoto's Best. So we'll have like a food truck and a lot of our families that we see. The kiddos can get an ice cream cone or ice cream.
You're going to get like a bouncy room or something?
No, we're not doing the bouncy house, but I am going to have a bounce or like a blow up staff relay race. So
explain to me what that is.
So those blow up costumes? I'm all about having a good time.
You're like in a big ball, like a big bubble?
It's like you're dressed in like a blow up giraffe. As an example. You know what I'm talking about? The blow ups or whatever. And then just having them in different type of animals blow up in costumes and then having them do like some type of like relay race or obstacle course or something.
I'm thinking, you know what I'm thinking of, right? So they're bouncing off each other and rolling down the parking lot. That's hilarious.
But I'm big on having a good time, but also recognizing, everybody who does hard work. And
throw some cornhole boards out there.
That's right.
Why not,
That's right.
So, well, very cool. So in the other direction.
Yeah.
How can people best support your business?
I think the main thing would just be, sharing any type of events that we have, or
I see recommendations.
Recommendations is a big one too. So even if like you're a family member or your nephew is, somebody's like, hey, I think that they may be a little bit behind, recommending them to us of say, hey, why don't you give them a call and see what they think?
Yeah.
So
sure.
any type of recommendation
and referrals.
Like I had a great experience there, or, you should reach out to them type of thing.
Are there any businesses that you have like referral partnerships with?
So we get our referrals a lot of the time from pediatricians. So we do have relationships with them. We work closely with them.
Makes sense.
Communicating about like the, the care of the child and, what we're working on and stuff like that. But, we work a lot with, the ARC that works with children with, disabilities. So a lot of our referrals though come from people that have had experience with us. That their kiddo has came to us and they did great. They really loved it.
I think my son is a little behind.
Yeah.
He's kind of a mute. What's going on? And then, hey, Southern Pediatric.
Yeah. Well, and I also, I think it's always good for recommendations from people who have done it, because I don't want people to think that therapy is like sitting on two couches. It's fun. We have a rock wall. We have a therapy ladder. We have a sensory slide. We have a sensory room. We have a ball pit. So we use play to meet the goals of the child. So if we're, say speech is working on them saying their THs or saying words, whatever it would be, they may be on the swing trying to work on that. 1, 2, 3, go, and then pushing them. So it's really incorporating play, and the kids usually love to come. So
of course they love playing, and it's active. It's giving them some exercise.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then I see reviews. Do you mean Google reviews?
Yeah, just any type of experience that somebody has had. Because a lot of the time nowadays, everybody is big on searching on the internet and, hey, where do I go for this? Where do I go for this? So reviews on Google is big for us too, because it allows people to see when they're searching for us of like, oh, that person, they have some great reviews.
Sure.
That person had a great experience and their child is in the same position that, mine is now,
I'm not an SEO expert. I know enough about it though.
Sure.
For anyone that really just maybe not understand the value in a review, Google wants to give the searcher the best service possible.
That's right.
They don't want to send you to a place that's not good.
That's right. Because then they stop looking.
Google does not want that.
That's right.
They want people to trust Google. So the better the rating and the reviews, Google sees that. The eye in the sky, the algorithm, the animal that is the algorithm, absolutely sees that. And it could be as simple as pediatric therapy, or I need therapy for my child.
That's right.
And it will give you that first page of options. Well, if the very top one is the best rated, always. So let's get the algorithm working for Southern Pediatric.
That's right.
So that's how that works. So
yeah.
Quick lesson. But well, good deal. Before we close out, I'll give you the floor one last time. Whatever you want to talk about, something we missed, a message you'd like to give, go for it.
I really just want to kind of generalize what we are, but Southern Pediatric Therapy, we do physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and music therapy. And we just want to make a difference in the kids that we see, as well as the kids in the community, whether they see us or not. We just put a buddy bench in the Hernando Elementary. So we're just really kind of always about giving back to the community, and a lot of it is involving kids, because that's our future. That's our,
absolutely,
that's who we have to invest in. That's who we have to love and cherish and all those things.
Yes.
So that's what we're about at Southern Pediatric Therapy.
And I'm so glad they have phones and internet.
Yeah.
For those only listening, that was a very dry, sarcastic comment. But awesome. Thanks for doing this.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Some call to action again. Please call them at 662-469-2906. Info at spt/team.com. And then the website, of course, is southernpediatrictherapy.com. Of course, you can go there and find all their socials, all the information. That's really the one-stop shop for sure. Give that Google review now. Jennifer, thanks so much for doing this.
Yes,
it was nice meeting you.
Yes.
We had a great chat before we turned the cameras on. Our boy, Robert Carter, if you're listening or watching, thank you. He's the one that connected us. Yes, you the man.
Yes.
Well, so good. And last thank you to you, the listener, whether you're watching or listening. I appreciate you making it to this point. If you made it this far, congratulations. I'll give you a review.
That's right. That's right.
And you go to therealhernando.com for the one-stop shop for this podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's a full network, right? And our wonderful sponsors, especially our title, Wesley Meadows Retirement Community, the watchers, the viewers. You can see the beautiful logo on my sign right there. Huge. They're in the second year of working with me and this podcast. Couldn't be more grateful for them and all of my other sponsors. And that's it. So again, thanks so much for watching and listening, and you have a great day.